After I was on Tasho, I accepted a lot of Facebook friends. I didn't really understand how Facebook worked. I barely had any subscribers on YouTube at that point. And so I just like, oh, somebody's friend of me, I'd accept. Now I'm getting rid of people. And the other day, it was an opportunity to get rid of somebody. He'd been on my Facebook friend. You know, every once in a while I comment on something. He had no last name. It was just Sean S. And I really would never accept anybody's friend request now that did not have an actual name. There's a reason why people are doing that. It's clear. So that, I don't know, he may or may not. I don't think that there was anything like too screwy about the guy, but give me a definite reason to get rid of him, and this was the reason. When he messages me, he starts it off like this. So if I have you do a board and train with a dog, can it stay in a yard while I'm at work? That's how he started it. Like, okay, so obviously I'm dealing with somebody that wants me to answer questions, talk them out of something. In other words, work for free. I'm like, no. So you're going to spend money getting a dog trained, and then you're just going to leave it in your yard. Oh, by the way, he mentioned that the yard didn't have a fence. So I have to explain underground fencing to this idiot. That the dog should be crated for a period of time, that like dogs left in yards like that, they don't do well. You're going to make an investment. I'm trying to be as nice about it as I can. The guy's been on my friends list for a long time. I don't really know who it is. Sean S., whoever that is. And then I'm like, fuck this. At the end, the guy's like, thanks, that's what I wanted to hear. I wanted somebody to talk me out of this. Oh, okay. I had to delete him. I just don't need this. And then, what was it? This morning or yesterday, whenever. Somebody who I'm not friends with posted underneath something that I posted about e-collars. There was some kind of article in maybe a Canadian newspaper. Maybe it was from British Columbia or something. And it was anti-e-collar and just said stuff that just was not true. I pretty much said, like, if you have an e-collar technologies collar on the dog, you can use it lower than the dog can feel it lower than a human can feel it. This is ridiculous. So she posted, I heard a report on you that you're mean to somebody that had just gotten a puppy and wanted information. Oh, you heard the report? There's a report out? God damn. Yeah, idiot. I'm not going to sit here and give you free tips that you're not going to be able to utilize underneath a video. That's what I'm sure I did to whoever. Yeah. What do you ask? What do you think, that it's my job to work for free? To answer everybody's questions for free? Knowing full on that you're not going to utilize them. And they're just going to be like these like little... You want me to have a magic wand. So I don't want to use the magic wand. I don't want to play Jeff Gellman's game of like... Oh, God, that routine that he does. Ask Jeff. I've seen it a couple times. I've seen a few of Jeff's videos. Those in particular. Oh, my God. It's like his assistant, whoever that is, reads a question, and then he gives a one-sentence answer. Put a leash on the dog, use a crate more, and feed raw diet. Well, it wouldn't be that, but it'd be something like that. I don't think he would talk about raw diet. That's not gonna, that isn't. Yes, it has to do with training, but very little. Putting your dog on a raw diet is not going to get your dog trained. But the point is, that's not how it's done. Dog training is a lot of muscle memory. It is. It's eternal muscle memory, and it takes hard work, and it's repetition, and it happens over time. So to just think that somebody's going to say something to somebody on YouTube that is going to change the behavior in their dog, you're out of your mind. It's like doing private lessons with the dog that already has behavioral issues. That doesn't work so good for a reason. You're doing private lessons with the people, and the dog is staying in that environment, and the shit's still going on. It's just a waste. When Jeff Gellman does that Ask Jeff routine, that's just marketing. That's all that is. He knows that by him doing this, he is not doing anything for any dogs. He knows this, but he's doing it anyway. And other dog trainers will do this too. Like, it's all marketing. That's not the way. You have to get the dog out of the environment. You have to retrain the dog. And then once the dog is fully trained, then you can bring it back in and retrain the owner. Hopefully, like in my case, I do videos. By the time the dog's going back, the owner has watched all the videos. That's hopefully. They have a better idea of what's going on. So this person that she said, I need to be called out on stuff like that. Oh, really? Okay, you called me out. Wow. I'm telling you all flat out, and I've told everybody this, and when people just, oh, look, it's a dog trainer, I'm going to ask him questions, to think that I'm going to respond in a fuzzy manner, I'm not wasting my freaking time. I'm not. And you should not be thinking that you're going to get your problem solved with your dog by asking a question underneath the video. How cheap is that? You're not even calling to have somebody come over and do like a consultation with you. It's got to be free. Your dog's not important enough to spend money on it, is it? No. And just like most of society, you think, oh, I got the dog, it's supposed to respond because I love it. That's what people do. They say that. It's like every time they give the dog up, it's this like, I gave that dog everything, and yeah, you gave it everything but what it really needed, which was discipline and training. Just ridiculous. So yes, I'm sure that I was rude to the woman, the girl with the dog. Of course. You're unrealistic. You got a puppy and you're asking questions? You should have asked every question. You should have done all your research. You should know. You should know exactly what you're doing with the puppy. Instead, you get the puppy and then you start figuring out what the puppy needs. You're out of your mind. To the person that wrote this, I was just like, oh, this isn't even worth it. That's the conclusion that I've come to nowadays, is that, like, when I see something like that, some troll, I just like get rid of them. Just hide their comment. If it's on YouTube, I hide the comment. So they might keep coming back, but not know it. That nobody else is seeing their shit. If it's Facebook, I just, block them and ban them. I've seen people fishing this before. Like when trout season first opens up, but this is like so high up. I don't see any fish in here. I've never seen any in there. No way. Fishing this side. But I've never seen anybody catch anything out of this high up. This is Post Creek, I believe. But I've never seen anybody catch anything. It'd be cool. I would come down here and fish. Totally. If there were fish in here, I'm talking.
heel. There you go, you got it, heel, over. There you go, over. Good, heel, now heel. Good, over. Here, heel, now heel. Good boy, you got it, Tom, get it. Over. Here, heel. Come on, buddy, heel. Good boy. Over. Good. Chunk of heel. Come on, heel, over.
Good. Over. Tonka here. No. Here. Over. Tonka over. Tonka here. Over. Tonka over. Whoa. Tonka over. Tonka here. Heel. Good. Tonka over. Whoa. Tonka heel. Over. Heel. Over. Whoa. Sit. Tonka heel. All right, let's walk. Point is this: if you're going to go around asking for help or tips on the internet, you're an unrealistic person. And you're also an unrealistic person if you believe a report that you read on, Facebook or somewhere about a professional responding to. That's not the way it's done, okay? It's not. You have a problem with your sink, so you contact a plumber to ask them how to fix it. When you're sick, do you call the doctor and expect not to be charged? You just want advice? You want a free tip from the doctor? That's really unrealistic. I feel better. I think I'm going to start doing a 3-mile route too, and do one going the opposite direction. Well, the direction that I'm walking in right now. Like 1.5 miles and then 1.5 miles back. See how that goes, because this is going pretty good. It is. Look, it's pretty. It's going to be spring soon. I'm enjoying working out. I am. I mean, I really haven't lifted any weights or anything. I'm just walking, but I'm doing it for, well, I'm doing 2 miles right now. So tomorrow I'm going to try 2.5 miles. No, tomorrow I'm doing 3 actually. So what I do is I use the car and I find out what the distance is to certain areas, and I just check the distance going in one direction, Cooley Road, and then a 1/2 mile longer. So a 1/2 mile going and then come, that's an extra mile. So I'll do 3 tomorrow. It's not gonna be a problem. I almost did more today. I was walking back after doing, I probably walked about 1.5 miles at that point, and I was gonna walk up the hill that's real steep. It goes up a mountain, these are low-lying mountains here. I'm in the southern tier of the Adirondacks, and I said no. Don't rush this. I'd already walked a great, and then that hill is really difficult. It was easier every time I've done it. It's easier. So maybe I'll do the hill tomorrow. I don't know, but I'm going to do much longer than I have been doing, which is 2 miles. So I want to do 3. So if I do 3 tomorrow, I am doing it up the hill. there's no reason not to do this. I'm still going to have leg pain. I don't seem to have as much. I do it early in the morning. That's the trick. I do it early in the morning because the pain usually is less as the day goes on. That's when my leg really starts bothering me. So I get it out of the way, and the trick is to not sit down. If I sit down, that, you know, once I try and get up, I'm gonna have a lot of pain. So it's really good. I'm really excited about it. Remy's happy that I'm doing it. She needs me, don't you, Rem? Somebody asked me, how did I train Remy to sit on my shoulder in a car? I have a video on this. I have a video on this. If you're gonna train your bird, if you're gonna get a bird and train it, you don't want a big open room. You want a small room. You want, like, use a bathroom, and so the bird's in there. Now, keep in mind that if the bird doesn't know you or whatever, you know, try and do this with like a younger bird. If the bird doesn't know you, you might want to clip its wings so that the feathers will grow back. It's not a big deal. It just sort of contains the bird. So the bird has to get habituated to you. So if the bird's in the bathroom and it's just chilling, and every time you go in there, just say hello, they get used to you. That's the same thing with the car. The car is a small space, so there's not a lot of places to go. You wouldn't want to use like a bird that's been in the wild. They'd be like just totally flipped out with you anyway. So if you're going to train a bird, I do recommend that you try it with a young bird, hand raised. That might make it go easier if you have no experience. And you want to get like a pigeon, I'm calling it a wild pigeon, but like a pigeon from a coop. The pigeon from the coop would probably be your next bet that you would want to do. You would want to use a pigeon that had been around humans. But the thing about pigeons are, and I was saying this earlier, is that they're just so stable. Like somebody was talking about ravens and how they're feeding crows and ravens or something, and so that they really find it interesting watching the raven come in and sort of like make sure everything's okay, it's safe. And that would be a raven. That would definitely be a raven. They're not really trusting. That's not what Sam's about. Well, he trusts me, but if you were a stranger, he'd be like, get the fuck away from me. Even, I've said this so many times about Sam, my raven, that like ravens and parrots, like they're not that stable. And I think that trust is like that's sort of a good description of like a wild raven. But say you're, they all have issues is what I'm saying about this similar type thing. Say you have a parrot or you have a raven and you have a ladder on your shoulder and you're walking through the room with the ladder on your shoulder. That will flip out the raven and the parrot, but the pigeon won't give a shit. It's the truth. And what, you think Remy's not smart? Remy's a bird. All birds are smart. Somebody was trying to tell me that chickens are stupid or some chicken and turkeys are stupid. No, they're not. They're not. You're stupid. That's a fact. They're not stupid. All birds are intelligent. Just because you don't understand the animal doesn't mean that it's stupid. And something else that really bothers me about people and what they think about animals, they have this attitude of like, well, it's smart, that means that it shouldn't be eaten or something, or like there's like this emphasis on, is it a smart animal? The pigs are smart, so we're not supposed to eat them. Dolphins are smart, so we're not supposed to eat them. That's not what it's about. Not in my book, it's not. That doesn't qualify it for being a worthy creature on this planet. There's lots of people that are pieces of shit, okay? So, just to have that as like the common blanket statement for an animal's worthiness, is it intelligent, is just, that's what people do when they can't get the dog trained or something. They label it stupid. and then they can leave it out in the backyard. That's a stupid dog, right? It's stupid. I guarantee you there's no dog that's stupid either. If you have the, you put all dogs in one spectrum, right, of intelligence and how they can learn. They all fall in this one area, and they can all learn the same shit, and that's a fact. If somebody calls me and they say, well, I got a puppy, can you train it? I'm like, yeah, I can train it, and it's going to learn to do everything that every other dog learns when it's here can do. The only restrictions are, the animal size, the dog size. Chippy, one of my greatest moments. A 5-pound Yorkie that ended up, being able to do the dummy launcher. They could all do it. They can all do stuff like that. Like Chippy could open up a refrigerator door if the refrigerator was small enough. It's all about size. They're all smart enough to do everything, and I'm not suggesting that we start eating dog, because that's a meat I won't eat. All the meats that I won't eat are my pets. I don't even want to talk about it. She knows. When I was a kid, I would hunt dove and pigeon. And boy, they're tasty, Remy. Yeah. I can't. There's a lot of places in New York City you can go eat squab, and I won't. I would never order that. I can think of this one restaurant in Williamsburg that's French, and man, the food's great. They have squab there. They have escargot. I love the restaurant, but I would never go in there and order squab. There's no way am I eating squab. That's why I won't get a cow. I want a pet cow. That's why I won't get a pet pig. I'll tell you what pet I would consider, and it's because I'm not really wild about the meat, is goat. I would like a little pygmy goat, a little billy goat with some horns, a little tiny one. Little asshole, probably. It's got to be my goat. It'd probably be a little dick. Trying to headbutt Tonka. Tonka would love a goat. But see, I'm not really wild about goat meat. I don't like it. I'll eat it. Every now and then I'll buy it. I'll buy it and I'll cook it. But for the most part, that's a really sort of pungent, gamey taste. And if I want pungent and gamey, I'll hang a pheasant. Or hang a goose or something like that. But I don't really like goat meat, but I sure would like a pet goat, like a little pygmy goat. Cute, real cute. I like them. What do you want me to say? I've always liked goats. I had a friend, she passed away not too long ago. She lived in California. She had some goats, and they were adorable. They'd jump up on things, and cute. And as far as like training goes, I would train the goat. What I would train it to do, I'm not quite sure. I haven't really thought about it too much. It's like my fantasy of like having a Winnebago, or my fantasy of having like a boat that I could just sleep on every now and then. But I believe that any warm-blooded animals are trainable. They definitely are. So it's like whatever I wanted to train it to do. I wouldn't train it to do something unnatural. Somebody asked me once, like when I got rid of the pet service, I announced, I said, I'm doing dog training now. I'm not doing the pet service, and all the clients are just going to be liquidated because I can't do both. And I was really having a hard time with the hip. There was a decision made because of that too. So somebody asked me, it's a very good friend of mine, I've known her for years. I lived with her, not like that, like roommate, Maria, and Maria's like totally into, like she's out in California, and she was like collecting sea urchins, and she's a writer and writes about stuff like that. She used to write about travel, and now she writes about like sustainability, you know, with the ocean and stuff. She's into that kind of crap. So she asked me. She said when I announced it, she said, "Well, so you're just gonna do training?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, what about training? You know, a cat? Could you train a cat to find truffles?" And my response was, "No, I can't, because that would be unnatural. A cat doesn't function that way. Now, a dog can find truffles. A pig can find truffles. A cat, they don't dig in the dirt for anything. See? So, I mean, like Bucket can do some stuff. He can do some stuff, my cat, but he can't do that." There are reasons that cats are not used to do scent work, and one of the main reasons, I would say the main reason, is that it's not like a dog, where a dog is real social and a dog's looking for that, like, there's like that pack behavior. They're always like looking for somebody to tell them what to do. That would not be a dog riding a surfboard. I'm fine with that. It's what, standing, doing the woe position in the water. They like to swim. That's not it. That's not it. And it is rare that I ever see somebody who's trained a dog to do something unnatural. That but it's always some dog trainer that's doing it to like prove a point that they're like such a great dog trainer. I nothing's really coming to my head right now. It's always like something like that's just ridiculous. Like I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But the bottom line is, a dog riding a surfboard or a squirrel on a surfboard, which one is abuse? The squirrel. Squirrels don't swim. It's staying on the surfboard out of fear. While we're on the subject of squirrels, I have lived with squirrels. I was involved with squirrel rescue for years. So I have a lot of experience with squirrels, and I'm telling you, they don't make good pets, okay? So if you find a baby squirrel, it's cute, but it's not gonna make a good pet. Real long teeth, and they will bite. So if you find baby squirrels, contact somebody that deals with squirrels, and they can get the squirrel into like a halfway house. That's how it's done. So you got to find somebody that like does rehabilitation with wildlife and knows what they're doing. That's how it's done. So you rehabilitate the baby. Maybe you bottle feed the baby, but then you start leaving them alone. And so if you had that baby squirrel, and then you take the baby squirrel, and then you're like, okay, so I'm doing the right thing. I saved the baby squirrel, and then you're gonna let it loose. That baby squirrel will die. It will. You'll kill it. The squirrel has to learn you're not doing it right. It's a huge problem that people think that I'll just like help the baby, and then when the baby's old enough, I'll let it go, and it doesn't know how to fend for itself. So, like rehabilitation people, they have different squirrels at different ages, and they'll like have like a couple. This is how the squirrel rescuer that I dealt with. I was doing squirrel rescue, but I'm not licensed. So they would have like one outdoor cage, then they had one indoor and outdoor, then they had an outdoor, and next to the outdoor was another cage. So they had a bunch of like very large cages where the squirrel would be outside for a while, and in the last cage that they would be in, they could come and go. And then, some of them were, you would see them all the time, from what I understand. It was like taking a squirrel out there. See that squirrel? That's the one you brought last year, like that. Where cats are very independent. They're not. It's not similar. Like all animals on this planet are. There's like this individualness about them. Like we're all unique. We're all unique, and individually we're all unique. So the cat really wouldn't be appropriate to do something like that. To like, well, I'm gonna have the cat find a bomb. You got size issues. You have, and you could say, well, you could use a larger cat. It's really, dogs function best for that kind of work. So I doubt that there's going to be some animal that somebody's going to like bring around it's going to be like, oh, this is a better animal for scent work. I really can't think of another animal that would be as good as a dog for scent work. And cats, they have a better sense of smell. So they their olfactory sense, I think, is greater than a dog's, but they're also like, there's so many issues with a cat that just would make them inappropriate to do something like that. That's just not how they function. So you have to like take into consideration what's natural for the animal. If it's not natural, then it would constitute abuse. In my book, that's the way I see it. There's things that people do with dogs that really on the borderline of either abuse or just flat out abuse, which it's like trick training, right? Look at the colors of these things. They're crazy looking. They don't even look real. Come on. These look man-made. Look at the blue. But then look at these, man. That's beautiful, right? Look at the color. Those look like you could eat them. Look at the color on that. It's insanity. Come on, what's with all these colors? This is a meatless hamburger. I'll try it. I'm gonna try it. It's okay for my diet. It doesn't have any sugar. It's like, let me check the carbs actually. Maybe it isn't. Total carbohydrate, 5 grams. That's nothing. It's totally rough. It's I'm right by the bakery section, but I'm going for some avocados. Which I do like avocados. I'm looking at these cinnamon rolls and shit, and it's killing me. I'm not gonna do it though. I'll get over it. I'll be fine. Okay, here's something that I've never tried that I'm gonna try, and that's zucchini noodles. Pasta is not. I don't want to be diabetic. I can eat different. Why not? I'll try it. Something that I really do like is that this stuff is clean. I'm not all for washing fruit and vegetables, so it's this is it's already done for me. But it doesn't seem like the price is any different. Candy was never a problem for me. It is now. Looking at it. I'm not gonna do it. Fuck it. I'm not eating it. We could definitely put in some more cashiers. It's ridiculous. It's Walmart. Oh, look at that, Melania. Grace under fire. Sorry, but she looks kind of strange. She's getting too much work done. Then you look at Jennifer Aniston. Not too much work done. Not at all. She looks great. A keto diet where you eat 50 carbs a day and that's it. That just sounds miserable. I'm much lower on carbs now, a whole lot lower, and I just feel like I'm craving it. I'm looking at white rice and I'm going, don't do it. My father, he owned a meat packing plant with Morty Lucas. So he would go talk to the butchers and shit. I don't even know if he was just I think he was just talking shop and stuff. Let's go hang out. It's meats. So anyway, to make a long story short, he went into, was talking to the butcher. I guess he knew him. This was in an IGA or I don't know. It was one of those, maybe a Kroger. I'm not sure. But so I found him out in the car, and he had wrapped in brown butcher paper. He had hot dogs that were linked together, they were the old kind of hot dogs. He was eating those. I remember my mom coming out and saying, "Oh, Mike, you're gonna give yourself worms eating raw hot dogs." And my dad was like, "That's not gonna happen." Hot dogs are. They're not going to give you worms. It's a cooked product. So that's where I got that. Watching my dad eat a raw hot dog, and then I know somebody else that does it too. Judy does that. She'll eat raw hot dogs too. It's a delicious sausage. You wouldn't like it. So a lot of times I'm thinking about like eating, and I'm thinking, well, I have all this food available. There's so much stuff that I can pick out and choose. What if I was in a position where I only had, like last night I made a soup. It was a pork-based soup, like a tomato broth, beef broth, with Brussels sprouts. And there was no starchy potato in there. There wasn't rice. There wasn't anything like that. And I was thinking, well, you know, if you didn't have this available, you would, you know, if you didn't have rice available or potatoes available, you would be fine with that. You know, it's something. You're eating something. It doesn't give you that really full feeling that the starchy foods do, though. That starchy, non-complex carbohydrates are terrible for you. I'm convinced now. I'm convinced about the sugar and the candy and all that stuff in juice. It's poison. It is. The way that I seem like my blood sugar responding now, it's like so different. Every time I checked it in the past, it was always up. Now it's flipping into below 90, you know, below 100 at times. But I mean, a normal person will go down to like, you know, if they fast and they check their blood sugar, it would be below 100. Mine wasn't the other day, but it was closer. It was about 1. I think I woke up, I checked it, and it was 102. So that's pretty good. That's better. But a normal person would be like under 100 and could be as low as about 70. So see, I remember when Lacey had pancreatic cancer, and the woman that I was living with at the time, she checked her blood sugar and it was like 78 or something like that, or like 80s, something like that. And I checked mine, and mine was like 117 or something. And I was like, fuck, man. And she didn't give a shit. She clearly did not. She's like, so what? Like that. Like, I remember goose hunting and telling her, like, I got dizzy, and I had walked out into a swamp, and I remember I was really sort of exhausted, and my head was dead. I was doing something, and like, you know, like I got sort of dizzy and sort of like I didn't fall down or pass out or anything. I said something to her, and she was just like, yeah, so I don't know. I don't think that's normal. That's not normal for me. You know, so she really didn't give a shit about my blood sugar. I know about this in my family, though. It's like there's certain races that are just tied into diabetes, and one of the races is on both sides of my family, and enough to make me genetically very similar to that race more than being Caucasian. So that's very common. Like you can't really look at anybody and tell what race they are, you know. Most people, like when I've asked, like, they confuse me for being, like, they'll say, like, I don't know, half Mexican. I'm like, really? Half Mexican, okay. That's one of the races that has problems with diabetes. It's Hispanic, African American, and Native American. It's really prevalent. It's like one of those things, like, you know, like I had a friend who is half Cherokee. I believe she's Cherokee, and her dad, she's half Greek, half Cherokee. her dad was either her dad or her mom was the doctor on a reservation. I can't remember which. But one of them's Greek, one of them's, native. And looking at her, you would think that she was like, unless she told you that she was half native, she had blonde hair. Real pretty, real great look, real great look. But like she said, like, yeah, my parent was a doctor on a reservation. She was talking about that. She said, oh, it's terrible, like diabetes, it's really common, everybody has diabetes. It's mostly managing that, trying to get the people to like stop eating garbage. It was a situation where it's not like my doctor. I don't hear from my doctor unless I call her. Like in that case, it was like a lot of going to people's houses and shit and trying to get them to like do stuff that they didn't want to do. Which I think a lot of doctors, like, that's the romantic doctor. You want to be a doctor, that's the kind of doctor I think people want to be. I would assume that that's more work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're making the same amount of money as you would if you didn't go that extra mile and go to somebody's house and, like, try and convince them to get the colonoscopy, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of doctor, the small town doctor, the reservation doctor. I think a lot of doctors go into medicine, with this like idea of like this like it's a romantic idea of like, but then it's just like, okay, I went to med school, I want to make some money, I want to go to work, I want to come back home, I don't want to have to overwork myself. Sort of like me on freaking YouTube. There's no reason for me to be answering questions when I know that it's not going to help anybody or any dog. It's just about sort of placating the viewer, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And if you write underneath my video some asking questions like that, yeah, I might say some shit to you because you're unrealistic. And you got the dog, you got the puppy, but you didn't do any research before you got the puppy. You're getting a pet, you better know everything about owning that pet before you go home with it. You don't get the pet and then start looking around. God, people are stupid. Her and her husband, they put out a product. They make a product, food-related product that's really about health. So, what she said about the keto diet, she said that she mentioned a friend of hers that said, I would rather have a hot dog than, God, what was it? It was something just that sounded absurd. It was like, I'd rather have a hot dog than something that was like sort of healthy but had carbs in it, like had a lot of carbs. I'm not saying I don't like to eat a hot dog, man. Those are delicious. I eat them cold out of the package. That's how I like them. I got that from my dad. One day when my dad and my mom went to the grocery store, which was sort of unusual. My dad sort of disappeared, and then I found him out in the car eating hot dogs. That fake burger, like, looking at some of the ingredients of some of this stuff that's like the fake cheese, the ingredients in it aren't so crazy. They're like sort of single ingredients to make like one thing. It's not as prefabbed or like, it's not like a Dorito, that's for sure. So I'll try the meatless hamburger. I'm not saying that I'm gonna love it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I'm gonna try it because I don't know. It's just people get set in their ways, and as you get older, you're gonna want to keep doing things the same way, and that's really a bad trap to fall in. It is. How many people I know that are old that are like sort of they're anti-technology, you know. It's very common. I don't get that, you know, like this, like, I don't know. There's a name for that, you know. I don't want to be like that. I'm not saying I'm ever gonna be like really good with technology or be seeking out that, you know, anything like that. But you know, like, oh, I gotta have the new iPhone. No, I don't. But I do want to live in this society and sort of like not be totally inept when it comes to that shit. So I force myself to do shit like that. Like, God, I didn't have an app on my phone. I don't really use many apps though, but I didn't have an app on my phone until a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. I didn't have my Apple ID, you know. I didn't know how to get it. It's real easy to get if I could remember how to get it, because I wanted to get another app the other day, but I don't know what my Apple ID is. But normal humans should only have no more than 35 grams of sugar a day. 35 grams. I always thought that was extremely low. I always exceeded that by, you know, triple the amount. Something like that. Double. It wouldn't be uncommon for me to eat like a Snickers, a Kit Kat. Also have soda. Couple. Like I'd do like 4 root beers a night. Stuff like that. So I'd have a lot of like just sugar. 35 grams. In one Snickers bar, that's like 47. So you've already had the, you know, more than the amount you're supposed to have. And a person like me, genetically, I have a predisposition for this. You know, my grandfather, my dad. It's very prevalent in certain races, black, Hispanics, and natives. Tonka heel. And, you know, that's just how it is. If you have overweight people in your family, which everybody in my family, fat, I've tried to keep it off. You know, I don't want to be fat. I don't want the double chin. Who wants a double chin? My father, I swear to God, he was never under 235. He would say, oh yeah, I'm down to about 235. Bullshit. He did do some things about his diet, but come on. He never lost weight. He tried to eat salmon a couple times a week. You know, he was conscious of that. He took his Lipitor, he took a statin. But, come on, sugar? My dad? No, it's a predisposition for the diet, the type 2 diabetes, is it that, like, those groups of people just crave sugar more. And that causes it. I don't know. But I know one thing, that I don't want to be full-on diabetic. I don't want to do that. Who would want that? And then you get the heart disease and all that other shit. And you're fat. And you're fat. And it has not been easy not getting fat. It hasn't. Neighbor sells honey. That's another thing. See, I would just like tip a honey bottle back. You know, drink some honey. Eat brown sugar. I'm not lying, man. This is shit that I would do. But I'll also like drink some condiments. Like tip back the bottle of Worcestershire A1 sauce on a cracker. Oh my God. It's delicious. But sugar's always been a problem. Even as a kid, I would take money from my mother's purse and go up to Wood's Drugs and buy just candy, as much candy as I could. Like back then, if I could get $2, I was leaving with a lot of candy. That was how I got my allowance. It was real weird. She should have just given me an allowance, you know, and bribed me with it. You know? I don't know. Even if I ask her, like, can I have some money? Yeah, go get it out of my purse. You tell the kid to do that, they're just gonna take advantage of it. You know, heel. No! My mother wasn't the best, but she certainly wasn't the worst. Almost didn't bring a cane with me. You know, I don't really have a problem on the walk. It's afterwards that's the biggest problem. And then I was thinking, well, what if you do have a problem on the walk? How are you going to get back? So I'm dragging it along. Wish I could find one that was like real collapsible. Yeah, I got to keep bringing the cane. It's just, you know, it feels good, but then at times it's like it hurts, so. Heel. No! About 6 months ago, I changed my candy consumption, where what I would do is I would buy more expensive chocolate, you know, the kind that says the percentage on it. So I'd buy that, and that's not nearly as sweet. And what I'd do is I'd have like a couple squares of that a day. So it's already, you know, down to a much, much, much lower consumption of sugar coming from candy. But I was still, yeah, you know, that doesn't make that much of a difference if you're still eating a tub of rice pudding for dinner. So when I made the final decision after I talked to the doctor and got my blood work back, I looked around for like what's out there, like what's the alternative? You know, what's the alternative to sugar? Of course, there's stevia. There's that. There's some kind of ground fruit. I can't remember what it's called, but it has more to do with a bacteria that tastes sweet than fruit. It's not coming from the fruit. There's options. Alcohol sugar. I think that's what it's called, or sugar alcohol sugar. And those guinea fowl are cool. They see Tonka. Heel. I could have a guinea fowl, man. They're pretty cool. Tonka, heel. I could have some of these out in my backyard. See, hear the goose? The big old white goose? There's a big turkeys back there too. I get a big bird that the dogs won't fuck with. I'd probably leave a turkey alone. Tonka, heel. I would have a turkey, but I don't think turkeys live real long. That's an issue. How do you transport it and walk? How do you have it in Brooklyn? You know, that wouldn't really work. I'm not there much, but I wouldn't want to, like, if I had to go down to Brooklyn for a couple weeks, come on, what am I going to do? Like, leave my pet? No way. Guinea fowl, though, they are a reasonable size. They're not too big. They eat bugs. They eat, like, I think they love ticks. I think that's what they eat. I'm sure you can feed them mealworms and stuff. Yeah, this walking's gotten easier and easier. I don't know if you're exercising. I've put this off for a long time because I do have an injury. I have real bad arthritis. So I still have pain, and sometimes it's crippling, like later in the afternoon and evening. It's real difficult. But it's not any worse. It sort of seems like it's getting better. My balance is better. So if my balance is better, I don't have a tendency to kind of fall when I have the pain. And you know, you have to catch yourself. That's not safe. So I'm really pleased with this. If you're not exercising, look, I'm 55. I used to be an athlete. I'm clearly not anymore. But there's no reason that I have to stop working out. Well, I stopped for so long. It's like I'm just starting up again. I never really got that far out of shape. I was never obese. But I had a tendency, because of the leg, to walk as little as possible for fear of pain. So, like with the dog training, not too much of a problem. Take the dog out, train it, come back in. You know, you can teach heel. You know, there's a point where you're teaching heel. I'm doing some walking for sure, but not 2 miles every day for the rest of my life, or it's probably going to be more than that, because I was almost going to walk 3 today. And then I'm like, nah, don't rush it. You have stuff to do today. Just make sure and do your walk. So unless I'm sick, if I can't work, then I won't walk. If I'm too sick to train a dog, which is rare, then I might not do the walk. I'm walking a mile up the hill. I'm walking like 300 feet higher than I've ever walked up this thing. So it's the last 500 feet higher that really gets me. I just ran into a guy, he's 80. He was out walking. I asked him how long he's been. He said he was doing it for about an hour. Heel. And he said he's been doing it for about 25 years. He said, you know, you got to keep doing it or else you'll go to sleep and not wake up. It's the truth. He said he used to jog before, but he's been walking for 25 years. That's me. I used to be in good shape. In better shape than I was 3 weeks ago. I would have never attempted to go, you know, a mile up this thing. It gets really steep. It gets real steep. But I was looking forward to it this morning. It's one way I can guarantee that my legs are going to get a workout, and my one leg in particular. So I'm going to put the camera down, concentrate on this, and just get up here. Got a ways to go. I remember a few years before my dad passed away, I went to the doctor. He wasn't walking. He was having problems. He was having problems walking. And so he went to a doctor. He met the doctor. I came out and said, come with me. I got to do some stuff. So I walked around the hospital with the doctor for about a half an hour. Then the doctor said, you know, you're walking, you have to work on. You're not really walking, you're sort of shuffling. But you just walked a mile. My dad still never started walking. He could do it. It's like you get set in your ways, and then you're fucked. Boy, this hill it's something. Same sort of steepness is over there. I'm past the mile mark. I'm gonna keep walking for a bit. I don't know what the elevation is here, but it's certainly higher than higher than Beaver Dams. Beaver Dams is 1,300 feet. This is so much higher. It's really high. I just walked way farther than I've ever walked, and I did it uphill. I'm in such better shape than I was 3 weeks ago. Get your drink and let's go. You don't need a drink. He's just fucking around. He's looking for birds. He wants to hunt. What's up, Tonky? You did good, dude. You did good. Good boy. It's the longest we've walked yet. Right? That was good.
Tonka. Tonka to
I just bought unsweetened baker's chocolate to see if it was tolerable. And it is. It's good. It tastes like chocolate. I bought some sweetened chocolate online that's sweetened with stevia, whatever it is. It's all natural. It comes from a plant. So I bought some of that. I'll try that and see how that is. That's the one thing I'm missing. I've eaten candy for years, so I miss that taste. It's killing me. I don't want to be like, do I have any enjoyment eating, or is it just about sustenance and that's it, which really sort of makes your life sort of, I mean, I can't eat Pop-Tarts anymore. That's, you know, when I'm not having soda. So do I get anything? Yeah, I get unsweetened baker's chocolate. Now, with that said, I had already started this year when I was buying chocolate. I started buying like the 60% and the 70%. I've known about this for a long time. I've known that, you know, my grandfather, you know, died of diabetes pretty much. Complications due to diabetes. And I don't want it. I don't want diabetes. Fuck that. So I'm pre-diabetic. I could just stay pre-diabetic. That's fine. I forgot what the percentage of what most people become going to full-on diabetes. But they're not me. And I'm changing my diet. I've already changed my diet. And I'm exercising, which I never thought that I'd be able to walk this distance. And it's better. And like I said, the hip and the knee aren't worse. The pain isn't worse. So why not? I get it done in earlier in the day, and usually I have the pain. It's later in the day, so you know. I mean, I'm limping. I'm in pain when I'm walking, but the real bad pain, the crippling pain's later. So. No, you're good job, Tonk. Good boy, Tonky. Good boy, Tonk. Tonka, whoa. No, whoa. Heel. Whoa. No, whoa. Heel. Good boy, Tonk. Tonka the truck. Little Tonka. Tonka. I'll quit talking about sugar real soon. It's getting boring. But one thing that I am going to do, I drink a lot of water, but I need to stay hydrated, especially after I walk and before I walk. I want to drink, and I am thinking about making tea, because I have all this stuff that like I got to make sodas with. But the problem with soda is that, okay, so say you make a fermented soda. The sugar does get eaten up, but it just becomes like a carbohydrate. And I think, I have to check this, it's not sugar anymore, but I think it's like similar to like if you drink beer. You know, you're getting so many carbs, it's not good. I mean, that'll just jack up my sugar too. A lot of carbs. Like they say, and all the stuff that I've read is like, what did they make the comparison of a sugar donut or a bagel? They said a bagel might jack your sugar level up more than the sugar donut. See the problem? So if you're going to, that's been tough giving that shit up. The combination of the two is irresistible. Like sticky buns, oh my fucking God. I'd eat like, you know, a couple at least. If it was like 4 of them together, I'd probably eat 2 and eat the 2 later. You don't realize how much of that shit is like a part of your diet, like the bread type stuff, even if you don't like bread, you know, pasta. There's always this like starchy carbohydrate in there. I was I was talking to Milk Paint the other day, and she brought up Mary's Gone crackers, which that's my favorite cracker, and I can buy them in Brooklyn, but I don't see them up here. But those are amazing, and I don't think that I'm putting, you know, that in the same category as a saltine. There's no way. Those are great. Those are fantastic. They have like it's a lot of seeds are in it. Lots of seeds are in it. Those are just, I would buy those because they were tasty. I'm telling you, those things are really good. So if I see those, I want to make sure. But I think that, well, it would be you know, I think there's a purpose for the reason, like having the seeds in them and everything. It's like, it's not like garbage, like a saltine. That would be garbage. That's like, what, dried out white bread? You know, that bagel thing, man, that can be a thing too. Like when I'm in Williamsburg, I get like, you know, that's something that I would grab. It's like a raisin bagel with butter, toasted with butter. Sometimes I'd just buy, if they were fresh, if they were still warm, I might just get a plain bagel with nothing on it and just eat that. That's starchy food, you know, you give it up, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it and you're gonna crave it. I feel better today than I did yesterday. Now I'm going in dandy and looking at stuff and seeing how I feel today. It's not gonna go away, it's always gonna be there. You know, it's like when I quit drinking, like, you can't avoid seeing beer, you know? So I find myself, you know, I'm going in the store, I don't care, I'm not gonna buy it, you know, I'm not gonna buy it. I'd see it. Then I already made the decision yesterday when I went in Walmart, like, I'm not buying that I'm not buying cinnamon rolls. I'm not doing that. You know, I'm just not doing it anymore. I don't need it. I don't need it. I don't want to be a diabetic like my grandfather, my father. How many other people in my family? My God. So when I was resting from the hernia, that whatever it was, I don't have a hernia, and if I do, it's so small, so they wouldn't do anything about it. So that is so much better. But for like 2 months, I was training dog. I was training Chippy, but I was just like, after I trained Chippy, I didn't really want to go exert myself with Tonka. Heel. And that's a problem when you have a dog like this. That's, you know, he wants to do, he'll walk all day with me. He would do this for 10 hours a day. Like, in the morning, he wants to do this. Don't you, Tonk? He's looking for shit. Tonka, heel. So he also wants to walk in the afternoon, too. He's always bugging me now for that. So it was difficult. I was injured, trying to work, save up the little energy that I felt that I had to get my work done with the dogs, you know, like my work, and there just wasn't enough for Tonka. So the more I didn't work with him, the more he was a dick. That's been like that with him the whole time I've had him. So he really is a dog I need to work with just daily. And that's it. I don't get a rest, and that's all there is to it. So now things are so much better because there's like a guaranteed I'm going to walk and make him be at heel. And if he's not at heel, I'm gonna tell him to get at heel. Tonka, whoa. Use discipline, and it tires him out. Now my relationship with my dog is so much better. I'm telling you, exercise. Tonka, heel. I was so into sports, you know, high school, then coming out of high school when I was in the Navy, and coming out of that, I was still, like, even when I was drinking a whole lot, I would use my ability to run so that I never had a DWI. I could be however far, I wouldn't drive the car. No way, I wasn't going to get a DWI. I always had like some part of, you know, working out in my life, even when I was a drunk. Hunting, I like to grouse hunt, but that's like an extreme sport. You're walking 8 miles in a day in the woods and stuff. You get lost. It's a good time. But so as the pain increased, it was easier for me to say to myself, you know, don't use up your hip. So by me resting, it made matters worse because the muscles just atrophied. I'm just saying that if you're gonna have the pain, you might as well have the pain and keep the muscle in shape, because the atrophied muscle certainly isn't gonna, you know, give you any support, and then you're taxing out your other leg. You know, like right now, am I in pain? Yeah, it hurts. I've been taking turmeric lately. I don't know if it works or it doesn't work. I always seem to have pain. Like it hurts right now, both knees and the hip. I don't know, fuck it. What if it was, this is what I think a lot. What if it was the 1300s? I'd be old for my age, and I think that I would just keep walking. Maybe not if I was like royalty. You'd probably be in a chair and having somebody move you around, but I'd probably be working in a field, you know, so I'd just keep working. So that's my approach. If I stop walking, I'm dead. I'm gonna try and turn that into a lazy Susan. I think it'll work. Yeah. The chocolate that I reviewed, I looked at a lot of different companies. This one seemed like the best. It was advertised to me on Facebook because clearly Google was, you know, tracking what I was looking at. And it had another interesting recipe on there for chocolate pudding that was made with, it ended up you put an avocado into it to like thicken it. And they said, no, it doesn't taste like avocado. Come on, man, heel. And it looked pretty good. I don't know. I'm lowering my sugar. I'm dropping white sugar. I'm not doing that anymore. No sodas. No way. I'll try the sugar-free chocolate. That chocolate that I was eating before I made this decision, I was sort of used to it, like not having as much sugar. It was fine. It was fine. I liked it. It was all right.